Good morning and welcome to my second webcast, in which I'm planning to explore what I believe is the under-considered subject of last-time buyers and how a higher density approach might help to make more efficient use of the national housing stock. If you're new to the channel and would like to keep up with RMC Brown, then please click on the subscribe bell. And if you like what I say today, I'd be grateful if you left a like on the video. References may be found in the notes below, though please note that nothing I say in the following video constitutes financial, legal, or professional advice, and you should engage with relevant expertise before undertaking a house move. So, what is it I mean by last time buyer? In short, it refers to anyone looking to purchase what is likely to be their last owned property, and for obvious reasons is obviously treated as synonymous with the kind of idea of empty nesters, older adults whose children have left home and whose current property is too large for their needs. It's important to differentiate with the older demographic still who may be looking for sheltered accommodation or have specific care requirements. Empty nesters will still be highly independent. They may very well still work, but nonetheless find perhaps the management of a larger house and garden an increasing challenge. There are many challenges associated with the principle of affordable housing, but perhaps the most critical is the fact that obviously demand currently outstrips supply. And whilst successive governments have pledged to turn the situation around, progress has been very slow and the impact arguably negligible. Our philosophy at RMC Brown is that anyone waiting on the government to be the catalyst for positive change is likely to be waiting a long time. So, what other options are there to rebalance demand with supply? Well, short of a precipitous drop in the UK population, which has implications that should concern all of us, the other option is to make more efficient use of the current housing stock. And when it comes to last time buyers, there's an interesting and multifaceted opportunity here. According to the English Housing Survey, around 60% of older households live in homes with three or more bedrooms. And in the case of empty nesters, they have perhaps a unique opportunity to capitalise a bit more on their properties. Let's get the grubby business of economics out of the way. Equity within the home, whilst it's exceedingly valuable and usually appreciating over the longer term, is also an illiquid asset. You can't really do very much with it. Moreover, in the event of the death of the occupants, many properties, especially if you're anywhere within commuting distance of a major city, will also probably be subject to inheritance tax. So downsizing a primary residence really allows an owner to realise and redistribute the home's equity into perhaps other more tax efficient investments, either for themselves or perhaps their beneficiaries. It could also reduce the running costs and maintenance, council tax, insurance, travel expenses, all of these natural costs that come with owning a larger home. Economic sense, however, goes beyond simply the individual. When you think about independent shops in urban areas that are more likely to thrive when there is a local and reliable customer base. And although older customers are becoming more comfortable with e-commerce, many will still enjoy shopping in person for groceries and everyday items. There is a broader economic benefit to bringing older people more into urban areas and into higher density accommodation. Whilst financial security is often a prerequisite for many decisions we make in regard to property, I think the most important and meaningful drivers are going to be those of lifestyle. So, a survey conducted last year by the American AARP reported that many of the preferences that older people have for their neighbourhoods are actually better delivered in higher density areas than suburban sprawl. So, for instance, closer proximity to amenities and healthcare, public services, and social hubs such as churches and libraries and community centres. And we already know that personal independence results in a longer and higher quality of life, reduced loneliness and isolation, which in turn results in lower medical bills and care costs. When you consider alongside the fact that seniors lean more towards the use of public transport over driving than their children do, there's certainly a strong case for providing the kind of accommodation that will encourage older people back into urban areas. Further to that, I would say that the transient nature of urban areas is often and justifiably tied to the concept of loneliness and isolation. And it's not really a surprise in many ways. When people move regularly, the concept of community doesn't really have the time to form, let alone flourish. However, when residents put down roots and intentionally settle for years rather than months, communities then have the opportunity to begin to thrive. All in all, there seems to be many personal and societal advantages in building higher density properties for the older generation. But achieving these noble aims will depend upon the execution. 25 story concrete skyscraper may technically offer density, but it's going to be less than ideal when it comes to developing a sense of community. Fortunately, the questions we've raised can be answered by traditional and vernacular architecture, be they mid-rise buildings with a shared courtyard gardens perhaps, or converted townhouses, or perhaps tight-knit terraces that have restricted traffic access. And whilst the primary focus is obviously to provide an environment in which older people can thrive, we mustn't forget that, the freeing up of otherwise under-optimised housing stock could certainly have great benefits for today's housing market and the people trying to get into it. Robust and durable and attractive and practical, it's good for people and it's good for the economy. So let's talk more about last time buyers and perhaps what traditional architecture can do for them. My aim with this webcast was to inspire a wider conversation, and I reserve the right to be wrong about any and everything I've said today. So, which nails did I hit on the head, and where do I have a bruised thumb? Are there any obvious things I've missed or nuances I've failed to appreciate? Let me know in the comments below, and if you've been entertained or infuriated, I'd encourage you to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and colleagues. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.